wanted me to share with you. And this is actually from ancient Greece. It was written by Philostratus, who was a Greek rhetorician in the 3rd century. And in this story, or in this little text, he's describing a painting. And in the painting are many, many, many of what he calls erotes. And that's a name that's no longer familiar to us, but it's basically come down to us as cupids. But it's nothing as childlike as the kinds of cupids we think of today. So it's multiplications of the god Eros, and there are many forms of Eros because there are many ways of loving. See, he says, erotes are gathering apples, and if there are many of them, do not be surprised. There are many because of the many things men love. Do you catch the fragrance hovering over the garden, or are your senses dull? But listen carefully, for along with my description of the garden, the fragrance of the apples also will come to you. Here run straight rows of trees, with space left free between them to walk in. And tender grass borders the path, fit to be a couch for one to lie on. On the ends of the branches, apples, golden and red and yellow, invite the whole swarm of erotes to harvest them. The erotes quivers are studded with gold, and golden also are the darts in them. But bare of these and untrammeled, the whole band flips about, for they have hung their quivers on the apple trees, and in the grass lie their broidered mantles, and countless are the colors thereof. Neither do the erotes wear crowns on their heads, for their hair suffices. Their wings, dark blue and purple, and in some cases golden, all but beat the very air and make a harmonious music. Ah, the baskets into which they gather these apples. What abundance! Not to speak of the erotes that are dancing or running about or sleeping, or how they enjoy eating their apples, let us see what is the meaning of these others. For here are 4 of them, the most beautiful of all, withdrawn from the rest. 2 of them are throwing an apple back and forth, and the second pair are engaged in archery, one shooting at his companion, and the latter shooting back. Nor is there any trace of hostility in their faces. Rather, they offer their breasts to each other, in order that the missiles may pierce them. It is a beautiful riddle. Come, let us see if perchance we can guess the painter's meaning. This is friendship, and yearning of one for the other. For the erotes who play balls with the apples are beginning to fall in love. And so the one kisses the apple before he throws it, and the other holds out his hands to catch it, intending to kiss it in his turn. But the pair of archers is confirming a love that is already present. In a word, the first pair in their play are intent in falling in love, while the second pair are shooting arrows so that they may not cease from desire. So, I think of the throwing apples, the tossing of the apples back and forth, as being like the playful part of love, being like the little glove gifts that you give to each other all the time. And it's something that isn't just about falling in love. It continues, of course, through a relationship. And in fact, in ancient Greek, it turns out that tossing an apple to someone is a way of proposing marriage. And I think in a long relationship, you're basically constantly proposing to each other. Everything you do is like, hey, let's keep doing this. And that is what keeps a relationship happening and moving forward. There's that kind of play and those kinds of little gifts. Even if it's just making coffee or taking time out to take a walk in there. Small things. And I think also about the arrows. I think the arrows are very interesting because the arrows remind us that love also stings and that we want that sting. And what is that sting? I think that sting is the sting of truth. What we want is the truth of the other. We ask for the truth. And it's not just those moments where you say something hard to another person, one of those difficult conversations, right? It's the truth of the other as expressed every day through everything you're doing. So it's something you give and something that you ask for. And that means that the other person becomes real for you. Because the other person is sometimes frustrating and sometimes puzzling and often surprising. And it's only through that becoming real that desire can exist. So that truth, that sting of truth, is also what makes desire possible. And I think Rick and Mike are people who surprise each other a lot and who make a space for that kind of surprise to keep happening in their relationship. And it's one of the pleasures of knowing them for a long time, of being around them. And I won't say that I'm precisely surprised that they're getting married. I'm not in some way. They are so married. But in another way, it is surprising. What are we doing here? Right? Because usually in a traditional love story, you begin with the falling in love and the vicissitudes of how that happens, and then at the end of the story is the wedding, and we never find out what happens afterwards. And here we're coming in the middle of the action. We're coming in the middle of thousands of tossings of apples, many a day, and thousands of arrows of desire and love and truth. And so it asks the question, what is special about this? What are we doing here? And I think I've come to the conclusion that the important thing about this is you. Is us. That a marriage is between two people, and it is a set of promises and games and gifts between two people. But a marriage is also a melding of the friends and the family and the community of those people. And that is really important. Rick and Mike both care deeply about their family, and their families are really important to them, and the acknowledgement of their family and of their friends and of their community. So I think this isn't a marriage that's precisely about promises. I think the promises that Rick and Mike make to each other, they're made all the time in their daily activities. They're the promises of the intention of continuing and doing what they love to do. But I think we can make a kind of a promise to them. We can give them a kind of gift, which is to see them. It's really simple. Here they are. To see them here, right now, live, individually and together, and in their love and in their marriage, and to see them for who they really are.